Hey, this is Mr. Ward, and this is a video key for the exit ticket for today. So I'll write key here. Who am I? I'm the key for exit ticket 29.3. I'll skip over some stuff and let's take a look here. So here we have x squared minus 10, x squared equals 10x. We want to figure out what x could be. Well, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to move, you might immediately say, well, x squared could be, x would be 10. Okay, well, let's find out for sure. So we're going to say x squared minus 10x equals 0. Okay, and there's going to be two answers to this. I can now factor this. Okay, so it's not just 10. 10 is actually one of the answers. But if I factor this and I get x times x minus 10 equals 0, it starts to reveal that there's another answer. So if x is 0, this would be 0. And if x is 10, this thing would be 0 because 10 minus 0 would work. So you have two answers here. X is 0 and x is 10. Okay, let's look at this one. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to subtract 11x from both sides, and we're going to get x squared minus 13x equals 0. And I can factor that and say x times x minus 13 equals 0. And so x equals 0 and x equals 13 because 13 minus 13 would be 0. And then you'd have times 0, so it's 0. And if x is 0, you already have times 0, so it's all equal to 0 as well. Okay, one last one here. And this one's going to involve one of those fancy x's and so forth. So I'm going to start off by organizing stuff. So 12x squared plus 11x this time minus 15. And that's going to equal 0. So let's make our x diagram. And so I'm going to have a product and a sum. Make that a bigger product dot. So I'm going to take 12 and negative 15. Okay. And 12 times negative 15. Well, 4 times 15 would be 60. So 3 times 60 will be 180, and that's negative 180 here. And what I want that to add up to is 11. So I need two factors, one that's positive and one that's negative, that will work for 180 to add up to negative 180 to add up to 11. So let's think about factors of negative 180. So there's, of course, and basically I'm going to be looking for factors that are 11 apart. 18 and 10 are too close, so I need to go up a little bit. Let's see, 20 and 9. Well, those are 11 apart. So if I had 20, positive 20 here, and negative 9 here, that would do the job. So let's work this out. So I'm going to take this equation, and I'm going to use that 20 and that negative 9, and I'm going to break up 11x into 20x minus 9x. That's the same as 11x. I'm going to copy that, and we're going to group things. So I'm going to put a parentheses here. I'm going to put a parentheses. Actually, I'm going to put it in front of the negative sign. And I'm going to call that plus here. And then I'm going to copy that one more time. And now we're going to factor out the greatest common factor for each of these. So I've got a 12 and a 20, so I can factor a 4 out of that. And that'll be a 3, and that will be a 5. And I can also factor an x out. So it'll be an x. X squared becomes an x. X divided by x is 1, so that goes away. And then over here, I'm going to factor out the largest number I can get, which will be negative 3. You actually get rid of that plus there. negative 3, and that's going to become a positive 3, and this will become a positive 5. And now I have matching factors there, so I can use the distributive property and say 3x plus 5 times 4x minus 3 equals 0. So I just got to figure out what makes 3x plus 5, what x value makes 3x plus 5 equals 0, and what x value makes 4x minus 3 equals 0. We'll go ahead and solve that. That's going to end up with 3x equals negative 5 and x equals negative 5 over 3. Scroll down a little so we can get the rest of it. This one, I'll get 4x equals 3 and x equals 3/4. So x equals negative 5/3 and x equals 3/4. And we're done.